dreamers, and welcome back to PERLA'S DREAMS. Um, Gemini, this is your reading, and again, guys, these are general readings, so only take whatever resonates and please leave the rest. Also, remember that the intention set for these readings is about your own evolution, your own growth. So when things are reflected back onto yourself, that is the reason why. If that is not what you're looking for, then maybe this is not the channel for you. And I say that with a lot of love, guys. But honestly, my hope here is to help you to continue to evolve and to continue to grow. Alrighty, let's see. All right, Geminis. What is that? Let's see. I'm picking up this energy of like I'm telling is what's coming through. Like I'm telling on you. It is this very like some of you are standing up for like some type of injustice that you have experienced. There is this sense of like maybe in a similar situation or similar scenario in the past um you may have stayed quiet, you may have not said anything, you may have like kind of like let it go under the radar or sweeping it under the rug, whatever terminology you want to use. But this time you're just like, no, I'm telling, my voice is going to be heard in this situation. So you're very much standing up for yourself. You're very much whether it is just yourself or a group of people, there is this sense of standing up and really being heard is what I'm picking up. Whatever the situation is for you specifically, there is a sense of like this almost kind of like needed to happen in order for you to speak up or in order for you to stand up for yourself. Sometimes the like there's this energy that I sometimes pick up, and it's like sometimes the extreme has to happen in order for us to like wake up to something that spirit may have been trying to communicate with us for a very long time. And for a lot of you, this is kind of like what it seems like, hey, we've been telling you like you need to speak up for yourself, you need to stand up for yourself. And it's like it's not until we put it into these very uncomfortable situations or uncomfortable positions that we actually start to listen and then start to show up. Now that showing up may look to somebody else or outside of you, right? Like you're being rude or like you're being aggressive or like you're being too loud or whatever it is. And that's not the point. The point here is like learning to get to a place where you're having your voice heard before anything happens. Does that make sense? Having your voice heard while you're still in control of what you're saying or how you're saying it. So this has definitely been a lesson that a lot of you are kind of like still testing the waters with and are still trying to find that balance within yourself as to like, okay, how do I communicate this? Not necessarily like because like just because you're loud doesn't mean that you're going to be heard. It is how the way that you come through, like the way that your essence, your spirit comes through when you're communicating determines how you're going to be heard or who's going to hear you, excuse me, and how you're going to be perceived. So there is a lot of that energy that is surrounding you guys. So there is a lot that even though this injustice or this mistreatment towards you may have been, regardless of how it was, right? It could have been somebody very rude that just like walking like in the same sidewalk as you and like literally bumps into you or like intentionally like bumps into you or intentionally like pushes you or whatever. Like it could have been something insignificant as to like as and something extremely huge, like somebody trying to assault you, like whether it's physically or sexually or whatever it is. But it's like there is this sense, regardless of like how small, how big the injustice was, is what I'm trying to say, the outcome is the same, right? There's this outcome of like learning to use your voice and learning to stand up for yourself. And what that brings for you specifically, Gemini, is this energy of alignment, this energy of like learning to feel comfortable within yourself, learning to feel comfortable within how it is that you show up, or how it is that you speak out into the world, is what I want to say. There is this ah, ah, there isn't a relationship that either came to an end or is very close coming to an end. This is going to be a romantic relationship. There is almost kind of like this space of uh, like it had, when it began, it started like this, right? Like, oh, it's starting, and then it's like you're seeing the potential, you're seeing the potential, and then all of a sudden it's like it flatlines, and then it just kind of like stays there, and it's like it's not necessarily that it got worse, it's just nothing changed, like the relationship became stagnant. um and I feel that you're here trying to communicate certain things, you're here trying to talk, you're here trying to shift things within the relationship, but the other person is kind of like, oh, okay, oh, okay, but then there's no actions, there's nothing being resolved. So in that sense, because nothing changed, the relationship itself, the aspects of the relationship starts to decline, and then you start to kind of like disconnect more, you start to disconnect more until this just has to come to an end. For some of you, you're still like in the relationship and you're just trying to figure out how to end something with somebody. For some of you, you have already walked away, but regardless of it, it's like there's no here, like, I get it. The person didn't want to change. The person didn't want to change their actions or whatever it is. But be grateful enough that they show you that part of themselves so that then you can make a decision to walk away. Instead of somebody that tries for a little bit and then 2 months later goes back to the same behavior, right? This person at least stay consistent with the not wanting to grow. They stay consistent with the not wanting to evolve, which then made it very clear to you that it was time to exit this relationship. So there's always kind of like different ways of looking at things. Like, just because certain things hurt at the moment doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't something there that we can be grateful about at the same time. Alrighty, let's see. Now, some of you are like, well, they were cheating. Okay, if they were cheating and they cheated on you more than once, then you knew what you were getting yourself into. And I know that that sounds cold and it sounds heartless, but I am saying it because I've been in that position. I've been in a position where I've been cheated on and I've decided to take the person back, and then they do it again. And at that point, I really can't be mad at them, because guess what? They showed me who they were when they first did it. And I chose to intentionally go back into that relationship, knowing very well that the possibility of that happening again was very high and very likely. But I did it. So at some point, I have to take ownership. Like, yeah, if I would have stuck to my guns and listened to my intuition, I wouldn't have got back into that. And I wouldn't have to be relearning a lesson that I should have learned the first time around. So for those of you that your situation involves cheating, because the general energy here that I pick up is not necessarily like cheating, is more necessarily this energy of like a person not wanting to evolve, or a person not wanting to grow within themselves to make a relationship grow, right? Somebody that becomes very comfortable with where they are, and you're over here wanting to grow, wanting to expand, wanting to build, and they don't. So at some point in this relationship, you kind of like you kind of outgrew each other, right? And that is okay, and that is something that tends to happen. For those of you that your relationship specifically involves cheating, all I can say is, like what I said before, you knew what you were getting yourself into. So from me, you're not gonna get any pity or any, like, yeah, they were messed up in their ways. It was completely disrespectful, it was completely wrong. But on the same coin, on the other side of the same coin, You knew what you were getting yourself into, whether it is that this person cheated with you on somebody else or this person cheated on you before. And we're going to leave it there because I honestly, it's not an energy, it's not a space that I like to invest a lot of my time in, because there's nothing that is going to grow from that. There's nothing that's going to come from that except for lessons that you have already learned or lessons that you have already been through that you keep on failing the same test. So all I can say is go ahead and study a little bit more so that you can overcome that energy. And obviously that is coming from the bottom of my heart with a lot of love, because like I said, I've been there, and it took me a very long time to realize that a person's actions, no matter how sweet their words are, how much you actually genuinely love somebody, if they're not looking within themselves, if they're not willing to make that change, that growth, that space of like really looking into their shadows, they're going to continue the same behavior, whether it is with you or someone else. And I honestly prefer that person to go ahead and experience that with somebody else, that it's not me, right? And that's kind of like the way that you have to look at it. No, this person is okay. For those, because I keep on hearing this, but what is it? What is it? Okay, this person is going to continue, that's cheated on you or whatever, is going to continue on coming back to you as long as you allow them to. And they're going to continue on doing the same thing to you as long as you allow it to. This connection that you wanted to turn into this sweet, magnificent, beautiful love story, that they stop cheating on you and they stop this and it's not going to happen. It's not the way that I'm picking up the energy. So this energy is becoming, it's a loop. It's stuck in a loop. It's stuck in a loop with this person. Maybe 10 years from now, that energy may change. Excuse me. Maybe. But for the next year or so, this is exactly the same loop. So if you want to go back into that, go into it. It is your choice. You always have a choice when it comes to the matter, right? All right. And I know some of you are probably like listening to me like, who is she talking to? I'm talking to you guys. Cause like I literally, like, as I say things, I can feel like the collective energy like asking me questions back or like pushing back on certain things, so that it becomes this dialogue that sounds like I'm speaking to one specific person. And maybe it is just maybe one specific one of you that really wants to know what's gonna happen if you give this person another chance. Or if this person is gonna come back around. Yes, this person is going to come back around. Whether you give them another chance or not, again, it is up to you, knowing that if you give them another chance 3-4 months down the line, you're going to find out that they were either cheating on you from the beginning, or they are starting to cheat on you again. There, of course, there is exceptions to every rule, but the way that the energy is coming through, this is just this is a repetitive loop. This is a, and like you're like on this Ferris wheel or this hamster wheel, whatever you want to call it, just keep spinning and keep spinning and keep spinning, but nobody's getting off of it. And maybe it's time for you to get off. All right, let's see what else. When I think about triangles, the 3 points of it, right? I always look at it as like our soul, our spirit, and like our body, right? And the connection between the three. And that is something that is coming up for you guys. It's like there is a need here to really realize, or to really get into a position where you are really listening to what it is that you to what it is that you really want, or to what it is that you really desire, and allow that trinity, right? Because I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, triangles signify trinity, divine unity, interconnectedness of the mind, body, and spirit. So whenever you want to manifest something, right, usually it comes through your mind, right? It becomes as a thought, right? And then it's almost kind of like you want to speak it out. You want, some people do affirmations and all of these things, but you have to remember that if your body is being resistant to what it is that you're saying, the trinity is broken, and whatever that is not going to come to pass, right? It's not going to get manifested. So allow your spirit to guide your mind as to how it is that you're supposed to word something, or how it is that you're supposed to bring something into like how it is that you're supposed to manifest it, so that then your body, because a lot of the times is our body that is resistant, right? So like if you ever sit there and you do like guided meditations and it's like, oh, I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family, right? You say it that way. And if you really are paying attention to your body, and there's the minimal resistance, whether it's the big toe on your freaking right foot or your left thigh, you feel like this restriction, right? The minute that you feel that restriction, that manifestation cease to exist, if that makes sense. So a lot of the times, right? Yeah, guided meditation, it's a beautiful framework, right? It's a beautiful like starting point. These affirmations are very good starting points. But depending on your own personal trauma, your own personal experiences, there are words that are still triggering to your body. There are words that your body may still feel is not worthy of. And because of that, when we quiet ourselves and we listen to our spirit through our mind can tell us exactly what words need to be used so that we're able to manifest. And then we can put it in a dialogue that our body is not rejecting, into a dialogue that our body is accepting of. And so this is really for a lot of you that have had a hard time manifesting or are having a hard time seeing things manifest for you, is because within this trinity of yourself, there's a part of you that is disconnected to the other two. And that is coming through in this sense as the body. There's something with the body. There's something with the body. Um I'm trying to see if I can use an example of something that I've just like switched a word. Uh, Sometimes changing the word I am to I am becoming. Um, to give your body an adjustment time to go from not being to becoming to then I am. So sometimes there is a transitional word that needs to be put in the middle of an affirmation, so that you're, because like again, and I don't know why it's coming up this way, but there is something about the body itself where your body needs to get used to a certain word. And yeah, you can keep on saying the same affirmation until your body surrenders to it or submits to it, but sometimes using a transitional word in between can make that transition from I am not to I am a lot faster. I hope that makes sense for whoever it is that is having um specific issues with trying to manifest something specifically. Once you hear this, I feel like it's going to click automatically, like, oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Because the restriction or the resisting, sorry, hold on, the resistance that I'm picking up is physical. There's a physical resistance within your body about something that you're trying to manifest, and it's all in the word. Like word playing when it comes to manifestation is one of the best things that you can do. So what I usually do is and again, these are just frameworks, so you can do whatever comes naturally to you or whatever comes best to you. What I usually do is like I'll write down what it is that I'm trying to manifest, and then I kind of like I'll put some music and I'll dance or whatever, kind of like move away from the space of what I wrote down, and then I come back to it later. And then I really meditate. I sit with myself in silence and I meditate, and then I start reading these, and then I start changing the words, what feels good to my body, right? When my body is accepting of it, right? And so that it doesn't become overwhelming, start with 3 things first, right? I do it with like 10 or 15 things, but again, this is a practice that I started with like 1 or 2 things at a time. And as I'm writing them, I'm writing them and I'm writing them and I'm writing them, right? And then what I do is I'll go ahead and I'll take the paper and I'll go outside, and either like in the evening or at nighttime I'll burn it. But before I burn it, actually, I missed a step. You see how it goes? I record myself saying the affirmations and I listen to them either as I'm falling asleep or as I'm waking up in the morning. So Guided meditation is very useful, is a very good tool to have. One of the little quote unquote like hacks that I like is doing like making my own, so there's no music, there's nothing behind it but my voice. So whether I choose to listen to this while I'm sleeping or before I fall asleep or when I wake up, it is my voice. And it's almost kind of like, for me personally, it is easier for my body to accept what I am saying when it's coming from my own voice versus having like a male voice or another female voice that is foreign to my body. I hope that helps for those of you that are having challenges when it comes to manifestations. Let's go ahead and see what else do we have. This little roller coaster energy keeps on coming in. Like you're really trying to like learn to ride the waves or ride the roller coaster and ride the emotions or the feelings that are arising with it. And you're only meant to witness something for so long before you actually start to make adjustment. So, and I'm trying to understand that as it's coming through. Like, I don't understand what they mean by that. Like, okay, I'm witnessing it, but then now what? Like, it's time to, like, I guess some of you really get stuck in the space of witnessing something or seeing something, and then you use that. Okay, I get it. So there are times in life where spirit is asking you to just view something, right? To witness it as it's happening. And sometimes we have to witness something in order to look at different perspectives, right? Or be able to understand a situation from many different perspectives. But that doesn't mean that we just kind of like sit there and not do anything. Like that sitting time has an expiration time. And some of you are missing the call when it's time to go ahead and jump into something or jump back into something. So let's say you had a hobby that you were doing, and for some reason or whatever, you kind of like took a break from it. It was becoming too much, it was too overwhelming, whatever. You took a break from it. And then spirit is kind of like been tugging around this hobby around your head, like, oh, maybe I could do it this way, maybe I could do it that way, maybe it's something I could do before bed, maybe this is something I can do in the morning, maybe this is something I can do on Tuesdays only, or whatever it is. And it's like you're looking at it, like there's like this weaving of information surrounding this hobby, and this is just an example, right? And now spirit is like, okay, I've given you this space to kind of like look at it in different forms and in different ways. Now it is time to move forward and take action. And that's what you're being called to do during this time, is to move forward and take action. For some of you, this is the space, excuse me, the situation or this hobby is the manifestation in itself. Maybe you have been trying to manifest in this way, that way, this way. You've done all these trial and errors, but the only trial that you haven't done is really listening to your intuition, to your spirit of how it wants to manifest. Or how it is, yeah, how it is that you are meant to manifest. So we're using this new deck that was gifted to me by a very beautiful client that I've been seeing for years. So we have the Medicine Heart. So give me one card for Gemini spirit. One card to close off Gemini spirit. I mean, the manifestation aspects of it, I honestly love for you guys. I feel that this is something that once you kind of like get in the rhythm of it, you're really going to grow and expand within that space. All right. So give me one card for Gemini spirit. Just one card. The Dragon's Gate. Dragon's Gate. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to adjust it. Number 6. All right. You know, I have to move back a little because my light, one of the main light is off. Anyways. The Dragon's Gate. Your effort shall bear bountifulness, blissful fruit beyond your current expectations. Rest when necessary, but refuse to turn away from your goals out of fear or fatigue. Acknowledge how far you have come, and you will gain confidence in your capabilities to go even further on your path. Trust the inner urge to venture forth towards your heart's calling. Although you cannot yet see it, you are so close to crossing a significant threshold, overcoming a long standing obstacle, and experiencing an irreversible liberation. What your heart seeks within reach, do not give up. So again, I feel that this talks back into this like manifestation energy of like you may have put something on hold, or like learning to discern when it is time for you to take action or when it is time for you to like step back. And a lot of this is coming into play kind of like at the same time, and you just have to be really open to listen and to follow the guidance that is coming from within you. Pay a little bit more attention to your intuition and you're going to be perfectly fine. Listen to your spirit, guys. um Spirits, listen to your spirit, guys. Alrighty, guys, that is all that I have for you at this moment in time. As always, thank you for your love and support. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and do so. We would love to have you. Sending every single one of you love, strength, and blessing, guys. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.